What I see a lot of now, there's just a lot of still high level of parent involvement in the everyday problems that these students are facing. And if we stay as involved, when, if not during college, are they going to be decoding these problems for themselves and reaffirming themselves and self-soothing?
I think that's huge. It's difficult because you have the parents that really want to get involved and stay involved.
Good topic. This is from one of the parents groups for college freshmen that I'm in. I'm in several of those across the board. This mother says, just got off the phone with my daughter. She's not adjusting well at all. She's ready to go virtual. I thought it was about her being an introvert, but she texted me, I love you. So I called back and she was in tears. Now I'm upset. It's true college is not for everyone, but how do I handle this? How do you respond to that? I guess let's start with the face value. What do you hear when you hear that, and what do you say to that mom?
As you read it, the first thing I imagine is the girl being upset in college. It kind of makes you go back to yourself and how you were feeling maybe in the first couple days while you're there. And you miss home, you know.
I think it's key to note we're about a month into school.
Okay, so it's not first couple days, it's a month in, and so I would assume that she's missing home more because it's further than a couple days. Me personally, you got to push through that. Like, there's no way I'm going to let you come home before like the first semester isn't even done. So I think that it's kind of like when you're running and there's this, it's like this breakthrough point that you have when you're running, like your shins are killing you, and if you can just get past that point, it's not that they go numb, it's just that you start getting more used to it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that she's at a point where it's really, really difficult, but I think most people can break through that. As a mother, I'd probably ask, like, what are the things that you're doing? Because if you're spending a lot of time in your room by yourself, you're going to be lonely, But I think that if you get out and you find other people that may be feeling the same way, or maybe people that do the things that you enjoy doing, just get out. Just don't, seclude yourself from other people. I think that'll help a lot, but definitely not coming home is way too soon.
So to that point, she asks other parents, how do I handle this? So how do you advise that mom?
I guess it's twofold. Like, how do I handle it in terms of how do I handle myself? And then there's also the how do I handle my child, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess you handle yourself first because you need to get it together for her. I would feel sad for her because you don't want your child to feel sad ever, right? But as a mother, I have to understand that it's best for her to at least stick out the first year. We've seen where kids went to school and they were sad in the first semester, and after a year they were like, I don't know what I was thinking, but they need that time. Yeah. So get yourself together first and decide that it's the best thing for her, because if you don't believe in it, you can't sell it. So that's true. Get yourself together first, then you go visit her if you need to, maybe give her a break. I'll take her out to lunch. Let's go shopping. Let's talk about it. I would focus on the reasons why you stay and the outcomes of staying. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I have lifelong friends and sisters from college. That doesn't happen from me leaving in a first semester.
Right. I think there's a few layers to this one. One was the surface value issue was this mom is asking for help because she wants to know how to address her child. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I think I want to say is I don't know the child. And so everything I say after this really is speaking to the generic case and not
right.
the specific case of this person.
Right.
I don't know them. I don't know the mom. I don't know the daughter. I don't know anything.
Right.
So for the sake of conversation, I just put that aside because I don't want anybody cursing me out in the comments. Like your uncle all of a sudden is on my comments. I heard you was talking about my niece. From there, I think I'm very much in line with what you said, is that, sticking it out for at least some set amount of time before we evaluate. I think the sample size has to be much longer than 1 month.
Absolutely.
Like, your child. You knew your child before they ever got here. I guess I have some questions. Like, what was her experience up to this date, up to this point, leaving home? Has
Yeah.
she ever left home before for summer camp, for summer internships, for anything other than going to family's house? Has she ever been away?
Yeah.
And so we would get some data from her then. And is she prepared for that? You're already away.
Right.
There's a cost to that. There's an investment being made for the sake of your development.
Right.
Let's not short sight that. Yeah, very much in line with the solutions that you laid out in terms of, pushing them forward, having other family members reach out just to give affirmations and things like that. But we're here for the work. Let's do the work.
Right.
We can reevaluate after.
I also wonder, what was the expectation? Clearly, no one expects you to leave home and then in a month want to come home. So I think I would ask, what was your expectation of being here? What is it that you believe you're not getting? That would be a good place to start. Getting out is most definitely a good way to start. On campus, there's infinite number of clubs. Why don't you place yourself in clubs and places where you're doing things you enjoy doing, and you'll meet other people who enjoy doing the same thing.
I have a second layer on this question, and it has not to do with the content of the question, but the context of the question. And that is, I'm in these groups, and I see it all the time. I see problems being presented and parents rallying to solve the problems from a distance. So one parent identifies, like in this case, my son or daughter raised this issue. This is a problem. Hey, parent circle, for a bunch of people that I don't know but have this thing in common. How do I or we address this issue? And the issue I have with that whole thing is that we didn't have that in my time. We didn't have that in your time. We had to solve a lot of those problems with the resources that we had. We had to go to our teachers. We maybe get on the phone or reach out to a family member or our guidance counselor or another older student to find out, hey, what did you do when you went through this? And how much did that contribute to our development as independent adults?
Yes.
We had to put ourselves in a position to solve problems.
We had to be our own advocates. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I see a lot of now, I'm not talking about this particular case or this particular family,
Right.
but talking about the trend, there's just a lot of still high level of parent involvement in the everyday problems that these students are facing. And if we stay as involved when, if not during college, while they're living in the dorm, are they going to be decoding these problems for themselves and reaffirming themselves and self-soothing and re-evaluating things for themselves and coming up with the resolve to push through those walls that you mentioned, like a runner's wall.
Right. I think that's huge. It's difficult because you have the parents that really want to get involved and stay involved and do everything that they can to help nurture, I want to say the child, but they're in college. You know what I'm saying?
They're adults.
And I don't know if there's an in-between, but I do feel like there's the parents who are like, it's time for you to buckle up, buttercup. You need to understand you're an adult now and you need to learn how to handle these things. And it's not necessarily that we're cutting the ties. It's just that I am pushing you out into the world and I'm still here. I've given you all the tools that you need. And now it's time for you to figure it out.
Yep.
Our daughter was going through a situation in her job where her boss literally told her, I understand that you don't know how to do it, but I'm too busy over here. I need you to figure it out. Period. And there was nothing else after that but figure it out. And so in my mind, I know that she's prepared for that because of how her transition from home to college and everything that she did in college with and without us, right? And so she knocked that out the park. Now imagine an adult, your child, is in that same situation at work. We're no longer in college. They're at work. And their boss tells them, you need to figure it out. Okay, well, what child did you help nurture? Did you help nurture the child that needed to be coddled through college? Because they ain't gonna figure it out. They're gonna call you. Or did you create the child that had whatever they had in their hands, was told by their boss to figure it out, and they knocked that shit out the park? In my mind, I want the latter. I want that child that's like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna figure it out. At the end of the day, I'm gonna figure it out. They're not born on Sunday and then they figure it out on Monday. Like, it requires, a lot of chiseling, and that's years, and that's some hardship, and sometimes that's missing home, but That's necessary. That's my 2 cents.
I agree.